Yeah, ZVP has been fun lately. I think it's been a matchup that's obviously taken the community by storm a little bit after it was really not a popular matchup for a very long time because, well, Sky Toss every game, Void Rays, Queen Walks. It just wasn't fun, right? But yeah, I feel like that's really not the case any longer. And it's a matchup that's really developed a lot. But Zoun is a player who actually has maybe kept it kind of a little bit kind of old school as well. He's not adapted as much to the newer style, so it'll be fun to see what he brings out, as I guess we should probably do some introductions. So in
Absolutely.
the bottom left.
Oh, go ahead.
In the bottom left, Yellow Pros player, I was just talking about him, is Zoun.
And in the top right for Alpha X, it is a bit of a team battle here. It is Ragnarok. I am your reckoning.
Yeah, it's a little bit of a team battle, and all is fun because I know Alpha X goes to high extents to make sure their players are very prepared for matches and stuff, and make sure they have any replays necessary and so on. And Ragnarok has a drone just on the map, which is obviously a little bit wild in itself, so that's fun.
Yeah, I think he's going to go in here and do a 3-hatch before pull, with the third hatch, of course, being that hatch block. Very Rattata-esque, very annoying. You're like, you look at this and you're like, damn it, I wanted to take that. That's my base, not yours. You can't have that.
Yeah, really not what you want to have happen right here, especially when it happens so late as well. You're right about to get there as the probe just doesn't get there in time. We will just pull probes and get a Zealot out to deal with this. And for Ragnarok, obviously pretty eco-focused as well. Get this hatch down, then the gas, then the pool. So really kind of just focusing on, hey, like, you know, I'm going to slow you down a little bit and then just get my extra little bits and pieces up and running. I do have my own natural hatchery on the way, right? So that's very important. It's not like he's given up his initial base to do this.
Exactly. Something I'm a little bit surprised about is that Zoun only builds one Zealot. Now, I'm not surprised because, of course, you can take down the hatchery. He had those probes DPSing it away. He'll be able to get it down with the additional DPS of that Zealot, and, you know, that's totally fine. But I would have expected him to go for maybe a little bit of a counterattack, maybe 2 Zealots, 2 Adepts, throw a whole bunch of Chrono Boost into it and try and get some damage done, because you forced your opponent to build their hatchery at the third. I feel like that maybe opens up a little bit of an opportunity for a counterattack damage, but looks like Zoun is just going to go with... He's just going to go with the first Adept, and then second one, I don't even think he's Chrono Boosting it right now. No, he's not, so he's just going to be going from there.
Yeah, very chilled out approach from Zoun, who is just going to drop that Stargate down to begin with. This is where it gets interesting, of course, see what he does off the Stargate, because like I was saying before, Zoun is not one of these guys that's necessarily adopted, you know, what is in the now common day kind of PvZ style of like a lot of units off of Oracles. He still has been a player to mix in a Void Ray every now and then and so on, so kind of excited in that regard just to see what he has planned for us in this series. And especially on Data C, which had, you know, a bit of a large map, can get something done as we do get himself a second drone kill.
Yeah, of course, the first drone kill was that one that was just in the main, so that was the scouting drone. Eventually, it got killed off. But now the second Adept does show on up. It's going to try and get something done. Lane speed's still a little bit of a ways away, and the potential of setting up between these bases is rather high, but okay, he's going to elect to cancel the shades. The Lings were on top of it. If he had shaded into that, he would have lost both Adepts for very little gain. So he's just going to back away, and yeah, we get there in a different way, but it's going to go into the mid game in a pretty, I would say, pretty even fashion. Ragnarok, you know, the hatch didn't do critical damage to Zoun. Zoun didn't overreact. Like you said, it was a chilled out response.
Yep, and here is a Void Ray on the way out, so just going to establish that already, get that going. I mean, it can be good for defense, but like I say, really intrigued as to what the next step of this becomes then from Zoun if he's already getting one Void Ray here early. That Warp Gate's still only halfway done, still a little while until that kicks in as well. And yeah, I also intrigued. I mean, I've talked a lot about Zoun, what to expect from him maybe, and ways he can change it up, but Ragnarok has been very successful as of late. He's quite high up in the EPT ranking. He's had a lot of successful tournaments, and man, he is just one of these players who will play aggressively and in your face like non-stop as well. And he has a great example of that. Going to find a cancel on the third base, only one Oracle on the map. It's across the map, and that is going to be no Adepts in position either. So Ragnarok already showing, hey, I can be aggressive, and if he gets off on the right foot and can stay aggressive, it's really hard to stop this guy.
Yeah, I was gonna say this looks kind of rough for Ragnarok because Zoun picks off 5 drones just before the spores finish, which means the spores weren't even cut. That's a lot of damage, but Zoun doesn't manage to keep his third base alive, and that actually puts Ragnarok in a really great position. Nice job does get one of the adepts, but Zoun is able to save the other one with some good positioning there. This is... I think this is an amazing position right now for Ragnarok. Zoun, his third Nexus is so ridiculously delayed at this point.
Yeah. Not having a third up is really painful, and Ragnarok is going to get his leg going, really should be able to start getting into all of the tech and the speed upgrades that will aid that kind of mid-game army, and I really do imagine he applies a lot of pressure here because the setup he has to do that with is pretty fantastic, so we'll see exactly where it goes, but feeling pretty good so far for Zerg in this first game. Still room for things to change, and actually right now he needs to think about maybe getting an Overlord start because he is approaching supply blocks. I know he's building some buildings, which takes some drones away, but yeah, supply blocked right now, and just needs to make sure, again, you got to be careful of those kind of things, especially if you want to try and take advantage of the fact that this has been a good start for you. You don't want to be missing timings and so on.
And this is a bit of a problem right now. We've got it's going to be some Archon harass right here. Yeah, it's going to be this is a very, very old school build, by the way. Like, we're talking like 4 years ago. It is starting to make a little bit of a way back. If you watch Christianer play, you'll see that he does it like basically every game. But it's a little bit of Archon harass. Now, in this case, he actually doesn't go double Archon. He goes single Archon. And I think he might just try and put his pedal to the metal, because yeah, this is 6 gates actually, not just 4. He had it on 2 additional ones. He's going to go with Charge Lot Archon, and I think he's going to try and get some really big damage done.
Yep, would make sense, right? Try and get back into this a little bit would be nice as well. I've been seeing a few of these attacks recently. I know at Home Story Cup we had a few games where these Archons and Zealots were pretty successful as we get into the main base, and here we go with only really Lings on the way. I mean, you're going to need some Banes to help against these Zealots, but yeah, that's going to be a good start. It feels like for Zoun. Queen's getting chased back straight away. A new Overlord going to maybe go down. Yeah, just kind of frustrating to deal with. Here's going to the Lings, though, and they do get a full surround at least. Those Archons should kind of be picked out of there much faster than they were, I feel like.
Yeah, that would have been a lot better. We do have the Queens trying to get in on top of this, but nice job. The Archons target down 3 of the Queens right there, and a lot of them going down. Baneling counterattack on the other side of the map could get a lot done, but it needs to at this point. Ragnarok is on the verge of being broken in the main base, and I think it's already happened here. Oh, and the Banelings do not achieve what they needed to. War Prism, it's not going to get picked off, and Zoun is going to take game number 1. Ragnarok was playing an extremely greedy Roach War and skip straight into Mutiling, and he did not realize what his opponent was doing, and he just gets absolutely run over in the main base. There was maybe a moment where if all the Queens were in position, he could have sniped the War Prism, but, you know, at first it was just 3. The other 3 or 4 trickle in and get picked off by those, you know, big, bulky Archons, the Queens not looking the most maneuverable. I mean, it's kind of a weird game the way it goes, but well done by Zoun, catching his opponent very off guard.
I really thought that I really thought he was going to have the Banelings at home. You know, I didn't realize the Banelings were on the counterattack, and so when I saw the Banelings counterattack, I was like, oh, you're dead. Because when the extra Zealots warp in, there is no way to kill those. It's like, well, if this next round of Zealots warp in and some, 8 Banelings roll up the ramp, it's like, well, does it really matter? No, probably not. You know, then the Zealots get shut down, and this game continues. It was a good attack from Zoun, but we continue on. But the Banes being across the map is not where they need to be there for Ragnarok. Again, just kind of build into that whole idea of misjudging the situation, not being fully aware of what was going on there, and a very expensive, costly one, because now is going to end up down a game, and it's a fast way to lose a game as well, right? Like, it just slipped away so quickly once that attack started.
Yeah, it really did. It's really interesting too, because we had we had an exact same scenario in a different matchup on the same map, where the player who didn't realize that they were getting all in sent Banelings into the pocket 3rd mineral line at the precise timing when they were getting all in, pretty much like, you know, within like 30 seconds of the all in coming, and then just died because they now it was only 2 Banelings in the Cerevor's Solar game, but it was the same concept where they didn't recognize what was going on. Just very funny that the 2 series have started off this way.
Yeah, no, it really is. It's a little bit wild as we get ourselves ready for this next game up, which is going to be on Cosmic Sapphire. So get this started, see what is about to happen here for game number 2 as we dive on in. And see ourselves in the bottom right-hand side with the player who will be down a map in the purple. This is Ragnarok.
Oh.
I'm gonna guess UI bug.
All right, Ragnarok takes game number 2, and it is going to be headed to game 3. Now, yeah, of course, it's probably something like that. Something weird, I'm sure. I'm sure we'll get it sorted out. But that was just take 1, you know? Sometimes you need to do a couple of takes to get the game right, and you're like, all right, we'll go through this. It's you know, the internet's a series of tubes and all that jazz.
Sounds just like, actually, I really hate it when I spawn top. I only play tournaments if I get a spawn bottom side.
Ooh, no. It's the bigger thing. It's not that he wants to spawn bottom. He wants the Zerg to spawn top. So the larvae are farther away from the hatch. He's thinking with portals right there. He's like, I know this matchup. I know how this works.
You know, Roddy had a theory for a long time that playing top to bottom is easier than playing like bottom to top because of the way in which you attack and the way in which your mouse moves and stuff. So I think Roddy would be right behind this theory right now. So
I do have like feelings like that, you know? Like I'm like, oh, if the map is a certain way, or if I'm attacking in a certain direction, or if the colors actually, so certain tile sets for maps make me like more depressed and make me play worse. You know?
All right, so we're gonna break it down when we buy tile set now.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. Like Glittering Ashes, ugh. That like grim dank, you know, lava setup. I'm just like, nah, get it out of here. I don't want it.
So it turns out Pride of Altaris wasn't actually just really good for Zerg. It was just tile set made Zerg players happy. There's just something about it.
Yeah, it wasn't the 8-patch gold base that was unassailable. It was the fact that it was just it was a happy little map. The funniest part is that is my favorite tile set. Like that like clean, like smooth, nice Protoss looky feel is like very, very nice. The other one I love is Belshir Vestige. Belshir Vestige was a beautiful map, and Belshir Beach actually. You know what? I actually just want a vacation on Belshir.
Vacation on Belshir. Go to the Vestige, stop off on the beach.
Mm-hmm.
Other Belshir maps do we have? We must have more than 2, right?
Probably. I think I'm going to avoid Belshir Tornado though, and Belshir Hurricane. I think I'll avoid those two, but I'll check out.
Not heard of those, but sounds understandable. All right, we're going to try to do this one again in the top left-hand side. And now down a game, of course. It's going to be the purple Zerg player. It is Alpha X's Ragnarok.
And getting his preferred spawn in the bottom right for Alpha X as well, it is Zoun. Of course, I'm just having a giggle here before anyone's like, Zoun regained to get an unfair advantage. I can see the Reddit thread forming now. It was, in fact, a UI bug, confirmed. So, you know, there's no actual strategic setup. And it's such a minor difference anyways that, yeah, I don't think it's going to be too big of a deal. But we have a hatch block coming in.
Spawned bottom this time. And there's no UI bug.
Curiouser and curiouser.
All right, Cosmic Sapphire. This map, kind of large, man. If the game gets going on this map, it's kind of crazy. So, excited to see what Zoun has in store for us. Again, I mean, like I say, like last game, it was definitely not a good start for him. But he just hit so hard, and Ragnarok was caught being very greedy, trying to get set up. And honestly, this map, I feel like Ragnarok could play very much in the same way, right? Like, get a Ling Bane, just try to go straight at mutas. It's large enough to do that on. There's a lot of attack paths to utilize Ling Bane run-bys on as well. Just obviously, can you do something like that when Zoun has shown the ability and the want to be aggressive early? Then it's a much tougher question. So, yeah, it'll be interesting to see how Ragnarok responds and if he's going to make sure he gets that Roach Roaring down this time, or if he's still going to try and skip it.
That is a really important question, yeah, like, because there's one thing, so you might say to yourself, okay, I know my opponent likes to play this. I'm going to play, you know, a big Charge a Lot Archon push as an aggressive thing to punish you and push you off of a style that I know that you like to play. Now, it does raise a big question of, okay, do you then go for that again, hoping that your opponent still goes for it, or do you just assume, which is the more logical thing, that you've pushed your opponent away from that style? So it's interesting that after the game one kind of mind game win, a little bit, like strategic mind game win a little bit, it introduces a second mind game of like, okay, well now it's like this double blind chicken a little bit. Obviously, scouting will be a big factor, and you can confirm one way or another. But let's say that Ragnarok goes for an Overlord speed build. That's still a bit of a win for Zoun in terms of like, oh, well, I forced you to do this. And then, if it does go to a game 3, then that's on both players' minds as well.
So much to think about as this drone does go down. It's a break grab with the Adept, right? One Adept shows up, gets a drone super early in the game. Just really nice free damage already. And I mean, we can mid up here as well because, hey, let's face it, there's no Lings here to stop this Adept getting in. And hey, all these drones are kind of being blocked by, even feel like the Queen is blocking them from making the spores at some point. That's a third drone kill with one Adept that gets out alive.
No!
Disgusting.
That was so illegal. Oh my god, that Adept gets out with 1 HP, 3 drones. That's what we call grand larceny right there. That is an absolute robbery. Very nicely done from Zoun. Now, the Adept staying alive, it's not that huge of a deal. But the mental effect, you're like, oh, you didn't just do that. And you're just, like, you just have Ragnarok. He's just grumbling at his keyboard right now. If it was Creator, he'd need a new keyboard. Like, that is just so frustrating.
Yeah, man, that really does suck. Because now the Oracle wants to find some damage. Maybe could have had a drone on the natural. It wasn't there when he first checked in. And this time we do have the defense available to keep that third alive, so we're not going to get into trouble like we did last game as Zoun in terms of that early economy being stopped. And here's the Oracle, just 3, 4 drones. I mean, he's going to get 5 as well. I mean, this is such a good start from Zoun. The damage done early is really kind of crazy so far. And that's going to be him recalling out of here as well in that top left corner. So, yeah, it saves the Oracle. Okay, having to spend a recall, maybe not ideal, but every other part of this has been absolutely spot on so far.
Yes, it certainly has. Ragnarok, by the way, did in fact get he was able to subpoena the grand jury and got the one Adept on charges of racketeering and was able to bring her to justice, I should say. So he's able to take down that one Adept that stole 3 drones right out of Ragnarok's pocket. So in terms of mental warfare, Ragnarok's recovered, but in terms of the actual game, like you said, Zoun gets a lot of damage done. Really good start, yeah. Oh, and it is going to be charged once again, okay.
Yeah, it's going to be Ling Bane. I mean, I feel like this time at least we might get into the Ling Bane a little bit more properly before everything kind of breaks out. So, this is going to be a little bit nicer, at least in that regard, as we use Stasis Ward here. Just going to catch, well, at some point a drone has to give itself, I guess the Queens will just kill it. No point getting a drone stuck, you can kill it with Queens, I guess. But, yeah, just being annoying with these 2 Oracles. Still has 1 at home defensively as well, which is really nice, so you can't be counterattacked by Lings. And it just makes it so that right now, Zoun is very much so kind of stuck in kind of this kind of position. I guess not really stuck, but he's in this like little position where he's able to keep map control maintained. He's sticking that on the map, and now he gets into his other tech. And what's Ragnarok really doing? A bit of Ling Bane going into Lair. I feel like Ragnarok doesn't have anything scary on the map just yet, so Ragnarok's the one kind of stuck on this kind of force that so far just isn't great. And he's kind of got to do something to make it out of here, and he's going to get Overlord speed. Maybe some Bane drops could be a cute way to finally find some damage.
Yeah, it seems like that's what he wants to angle towards, but unfortunately he is running into a similar situation we saw in game number 1. It looks like we might actually see a pretty similar repeat in terms of strategy, where we have that very, very quick Spire. Potentially, yeah, he's getting 2 more gases. There it is. There's a Spire going down, and it's going to be a big charge lot Archon push. I'm very worried for Ragnarok once again. If we see a sneaky move up into the main base, and he can't prevent a big Zealot warping in the main, I mean, things get very dicey. You can deal with this, like you said, with a bunch of Bane. Oh my god, the Stasis Wards just keep being huge.
Yeah, everything is just kind of going Zoun's way at the moment. He has really got Ragnarok in a tough spot, man. Like, even the work count isn't being great for Ragnarok. This Overseer Scout's going to tell you pretty much everything that's going on, but it's not like anything weird is happening. This is very much so a pretty regular game as of right now. These few Lings are going to get surrounded a bit by the Archons. They do get out of there, and they will try to get a cancel on this 4th base, in fact. And actually, that does work. So the Lings turn being stuck in the stasis into something. Mind is delayed for Zoun. He still had the probe nearby, so can replace that instantly. And we are just now moments away from Mutas again on the map. But do you really want to build Mutas right now? I feel like we're instead going to have to spam out some Roaches, but he doesn't have too much free supply to spam Roaches with. So, yeah, as this attack comes in, Zoun feels as though he's got Ragnarok completely unprepared. I mean, 17 Balins morphing, but Yeah, it's just Lingbane Queen against a very scary tech-up army.
Yeah, this is that mind game I was talking about where it was the game of double chicken, and it looks like Zoun might have won once again. It is going to come down to these Baneley connections. Roaches are starting to be produced, so if Ragnarok can continue to buy time, he can absolutely turn this around. Getting that morphing into Archon is going to be really big. The Banelings are going to flood on forward. They run by the Archons, but they don't even get all the Zealots, let alone taking down the Archons. Huge Stasis Ward has taken down a lot of these Lings, and we might be seeing a very quick 2-0.
This feels like both games. I mean, obviously this game's down had a very good start, but it's again just another attack which you really focus on punishing what Ragnarok is trying to get done, right? He's trying to go up into mutas, he was trying to skip roaches. Like, yes, he got the roach run just in case, but it was still late, right? So Zoun just very good at identifying exactly what he needs to do to just shut the game down when it's in his favor already, and yeah, losing a couple of Archons here, but obviously doesn't really matter. 16 drones already killed. He can continue to reinforce this as well at this point. I don't think he necessarily needs to back away and just reinforce in full. I think he can just keep on just sending a few units in at a time. And Ragnarok types GG, drops to the lower bracket in TSL 9.